Hello, everybody. It's Akeem again with the Grande Prairie Local Business Connection, introducing you to another one of our local business owners, Lance Warkentin from Jeffrey's Cafe, one of my personal favorites. So welcome, Lance.
Hey, everybody. Thanks, Akeem, for having me. And yeah, it's great to connect through Zoom here and yeah, still be able to stay connected while socially distancing.
yeah. We were joking before. This is like Zoom's been like the savior for all entrepreneurs all of a sudden.
Yeah, everybody knows it now, and I'm sure we'll probably use it a lot even after all of this is through. So.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So I guess we'll just dive right in. Won't take up too much of your time. But if you want to start by telling everybody where you're from, I believe grew up in Grande Prairie.
Yeah, I'm born and raised about an hour out of Grande Prairie. Grew up on a farm north of DeBolt. And I've had Jeffrey's Cafe this May. We are starting our 20th year. So I would say local through and through, and have seen a lot of ups and downs in my 20 years in Grande Prairie. But love it. Love being here. So.
Yeah, well, you guys are definitely a staple in the community. At least that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. It's definitely part of the community. It's not just a business, is what I'd say.
Yeah, no, I mean, we've felt the support of the community, and even right at the very beginning, we did a lot of work with the Grande Prairie Art Gallery. A lot of well-established businesses have been super supportive throughout the years with catering, Christmas parties, sending people in or just coming in themselves. And so, I mean, we have felt the warmth of the people of Grande Prairie since the day we started. And we wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Grande Prairie and for the community.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I guess we already know. So we know it's Jeffrey's Cafe. We know there's multiple locations in Grande Prairie. So I guess we'll dive into the next side of it. Is what motivated you to start this business?
I, from a super young age, probably 5, I loved food. I loved cooking. I'd hang out with my mom in the kitchen. On the farm, we'd be cooking meals, taking them out to the field. And so probably when I was 12, 13, I'd start helping with those and kind of being inventive, creating things. I've also always loved business, the idea of selling things. Started going to the local farmers market in Crooked Creek in DeBolt, probably when I was 14. And then here in Grande Prairie when I was 16. So the combination of the two, I still to this day love food. I love serving people. I love creating an experience. I love coming up with new products. And so it was pretty natural to do this. When I first started cooking, I actually worked at Dunvegan Gardens at the tea house, which isn't there anymore. But yeah, even just my experiences have been very local and places that have lent me the opportunity to kind of stretch myself and try new things. And yeah, so food, yeah, I don't know. It brings people together. It's part of life, and
Yeah,
I love it. So
for sure. I agree, man. And I'm just going to sidestep for a second here because now it's just a personal curiosity. Do you come up with the recipes yourself, or is that like another chef, or?
Probably like 95% of the products that we have are recipes that I've come up with or created. So there's, yeah, every once in a while, somebody on our staff will come up and they'll be like, let's try doing this, or it'll be a friend maybe that comes and it's like, you really need to try doing this, and this is how I would do it. And so there is a certain amount of collaboration on the menu. But I would say that even today, I still generally drive the direction and the creation of what's going to come out. And yeah, it is part of what I love to do. And it's probably a hard part for me to let go of. So
Yeah.
I'd like to say that we have become more collaborative over the years, and and taking advice and ideas from our staff and from friends and family.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a process.
When you're that passionate about something, it becomes just almost easier to do, right?
Yeah. In part of it, I think even when we've had other people create menu items, when we have some of our staff do it, some of our chefs, it usually comes to me and there is a little bit of tweaking. Um, and it really is, customers have come to expect a certain maybe style of food or a certain way that flavors and profiles come out. And so um, trying to stay true to that, I guess, is a big part of it. And trying not to drift too far off of who we are as a company, and so that's part of it too.
Yeah. Yeah. And you guys have been good about sourcing local as well. That's been a very big part of your business. I only know because I'm a frequent customer, but like, was it Blackwood honey? Is that accurate?
Blackwood Farms honey. It's actually one of my friends. They started an apiary, and so yeah, we use that in quite a few things, like in our Blackwood honey latte, which is super good. It's also in our barbecue sauce, and we just came up with the dressing using it. We try and use what we can seasonally. We've got stuff from Homestead Farms, um, where we use their pea shoots. The biggest thing for us is trying to find local vendors that can produce enough for
Mhm.
us to be able to use at all three locations for a long enough period of time.
Mhm.
Um, and so that's sometimes a challenge, but outside of that, I guess even when we look at it, we try and use as many Alberta-based products as we can. If we can't use right super local, we try and use something from within the province as well.
Sure.
Um, just because we know the quality and we know that it's most likely family farms or families working to actually create this stuff, and so yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
try and stay connected to that to some degree.
Awesome, awesome. So on the other side of it, it's just really joy, like just to hear that. Sorry, I because I'm a big fan of supporting local as well. We try, obviously, not everything in our household is local, but we try to support local. And it's a big.
There's a fine balance there, and I think um, anybody that's in business, and even in your home, there are certain things that you just can't get locally, or the quality of them just isn't great. And so it's this combination of value and local, um, as well as understanding that things that might not be super local are still produced by families. And so the question becomes, if we're buying, like our tea blends come from Brooklyn, but again, it's a very small boutique company that makes incredibly good tea that is consciously sourced from all over the world. And so to us, part of it becomes, if you can't be local, can you still be, if you're shipping it in, can it still be local there? Is it still a company that is a family-based business, or is it a small, entrepreneurial company and not just a huge vendor that's selling, $1 billion worth of tea a year? And so I guess that's the other part of how we look at it. What are the stories behind the stuff that we're bringing in?
Right, right. Awesome. So obviously, this COVID-19 pandemic has affected all of our businesses, everybody in the community. But if maybe you want to touch on how it's affected you and your business specifically.
Well, for us, it was right off the top. Even before they were shutting stuff down, uh, a lot of companies cut their catering pretty instantaneously. Um, as soon as the city and most government buildings started shutting down, I mean, our Montrose location shut really quick because the city closed all of their public buildings. So we dropped like 80 or 90% within a week.
Yeah.
Pretty substantial, especially when at that point no government programs, or it's like, what do we do? How do we handle this? Are we going to cut staff? Or how rapidly do we cut staff? How do we do it well? Because staff is really what drives our company.
Mhm.
I think any restaurant or any service industry, it's like, if you don't have your people, uh, there's not much to you. I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
and so going through that whole process, and I guess within kind of a couple weeks after that, or within a good week, we decided that we would try and stay open as long as we were following, all the government requirements and protocols, that we would try and run this out as best we can. Um, so after making that decision, it became, how do we pivot? And I think lots of people are talking about, how do you pivot your industry, either to selling online or delivering, if you are used to having the product in a certain location, whether it's food or something else. How do you get a good product to a consumer, or something that they need, or if they don't need, something that you can communicate that they want. And so we started doing delivery. For us, we had a system in place for online ordering already. We were able to just basically make the delivery part live and use some of our existing staff for that. And since then, it's been looking at our menu. Something that we've done is charcuterie boxes, wine and charcuterie on Tuesdays. For us, it's taken off great. It's something that we've always done in the restaurant as a special on Tuesdays or whatever. And so that came out of, how do we give people the same kind of experience in their home? And that's been a lot of what we're doing. How do we still kind of have the same experiences? Can we do a happy hour? Can we do a nacho night, but in a different format? Stick it in a box, make it super easy, practical, and still a really good value for people. And so I guess that's the way that we've been kind of breaking this down and coming up with ideas on what we're going to do.
Yeah, that's interesting that you say that. And think of it like you're not just selling food or drink, you're selling the experience. And I think that's something that a lot of business owners can take away actually from this interview as well, in how to position themselves to continue, right? Regardless of the pandemic or not, I think that's an important mentality to have.
Yeah, I think one of the things that, as I've talked to people, there's a lot of people where the family is all at home now, and maybe you're homeschooling your kids and you're teaching your kids, and people aren't necessarily intentional about connecting, even though they're together all the time at home. And so something like wine and charcuterie becomes a date night experience for people, where they're going, okay, tonight we're going to be intentional about relationship. The same thing with our family meal packs. It's, I grew up where we ate dinner around a table, and I know that that's not the norm anymore, where a family gathers around a table. I think there's an opportunity for people to actually to reconnect as a family, and we're looking at that, going, what can we offer, and how can we help people to be intentional in utilizing this opportunity to reconnect as a family, to reconnect as a couple, or even to send a meal to somebody else, send a meal to your grandparents or your parents that you can't go visit, or to a friend. If you're working out in the patch, sending something to your family at home, trying to make all these things practical so that people actually feel connected. And I think that almost any company can do this. It's taking your product and looking at it and going, how can we be intentional with what we're putting together and how people might experience it.
Yeah, that's excellent perspective. So awesome, man. So with that said, I guess we talked a little bit about this before, but if you want to, if you're willing to share with everybody, what other things you'll be doing moving forward, so that when this all normalizes, maybe you've learned some things that you can continue to use for your business.
Yeah, I think anything that we are doing online, we're trying to be very intentional, that we're not just throwing out kind of a short-term fix. We're trying to learn how to do this well, so that things like delivery, we will continue to do it after everything normalizes. It will become a part of our business. So we're using this as an opportunity to learn how to do it well, sourcing everything from packaging, teaching our staff how to deliver, and what a delivery should look like. For us, it's been a steep learning curve. The family meal packages, that's something that we intend to continue to do. It's something we had talked about a few months back. And so this becomes a great opportunity for us to launch it. but we know that our in-house menu is probably going to look a little bit different moving forward because we'll incorporate some of these ideas. Um, but certainly, we're everything that we're trying to put out there, we want it to become a part of who we are as a company. Um, Also, some of the things we've been doing with putting recipes out, and trying to share a little bit more about how we come up with these things or where they come from, that is something that I think will be intentional about continuing as well. We don't want people to feel like they have to come into the restaurant to experience something. Um, sure, we need it. We need people to buy from us, but we also want people to feel like they're getting value outside of it. That Jeffrey's is more than um, just a food producer. I mean, we are local. We've been part of the community, and we want people to be able to experience some of the stuff and grow and learn as well as we are. And so, putting that stuff out there is probably something that we will continue to do after.
Right on. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you. I guess that kind of wraps it up for me. Unless there's anything that you wanted to say, any closing thoughts or?
I think the last thing, and we had kind of briefly talked about it, is just how encouraged I am by the connection of the business community in Grande Prairie and people sharing things that are working well for them, whether it's apps or um, tools on social media or how to do contests or various things, learning from one another. And I would just encourage people to continue to do that, to reach out to somebody that you see doing something well and ask them how it's going or what they're doing, maybe why they're doing it. Um, the best resource that we have is our own community, and so yeah, I just want to kind of throw out that encouragement to everybody to keep on asking and staying connected that way.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day. I know you're busy and you got a lot going on. So thank you so much for participating, and look forward to seeing you again next time I step foot in your in your facility.
That's great. Thanks, Kim.
Okay.
Appreciate it.